Hello and welcome to today's Sunshine Prepper News. I'm Willow, the Sunshine Prepper, here to spread a bit of positivity on the unavoidable doom and gloom. Join me for a quick 5 seconds of laughter before we get into what is definitely not a laughing matter, which is precisely why I think the little endorphin hit from laughter is perfect for today. Endorphins reduce cortisol, they lower your heart rate and blood pressure, and help your muscles relax. So 5 seconds, here we go. Okay. I expect by now, if you live in the USA, you know, or by now you've heard about the Francis Scott Key Bridge in Baltimore collapsing. Let's get the basics out in the open and then ask some questions and make some observations about it all. This story is important enough that above all the other interesting things going on, like the ongoing farmer protests raging across Europe, our government warning of current and imminent attacks on our water supply, or the troubling numbers of excess deaths, I think that this whole bridge and port thing is more likely to impact you, and so I think it's something you can use as a catalyst to take action to shore up your own personal lifeboat. The water supply thing, though, for real, that's possibly next week's topic. You should look into it. Okay, so the facts that we know are at about 1:30 a.m. on March 26th, the MV Dolly, who was outbound headed to Sri Lanka, lost power, lost control of the ship, and crashed into one of the essential pylons. The Francis Scott Key Bridge is over 8,600 feet long, and the giant container ship caused about 1,200 feet to collapse. From the preliminary investigations, the captains and crew did everything in their power to save the situation once the ship had lost power. They dropped anchor, they sent warning to the Department of Transportation, but at around 8.5 knots of speed, there wasn't much that could be done. So far, this wasn't a negligent captain or crew, but there aren't any clear answers out yet on what caused the power outage. Some speculations are inadequate fuel quality, not supply, cooling water blockage, pure coincidence, accident, and potential cyber attacks or other enemy action. But based on the giant clouds of black smoke that plume out after the power outage, it leans towards a problem with the engine. The ship had been inspected regularly and only had some minor repairs. Everything was in relatively good working order. What we do know is while this is a horrible infrastructure loss, the human loss was relatively low compared to how much traffic goes across that bridge in a day. The most recent number I found is 6 presumed dead, which when you consider that over 30,000 vehicles use that bridge daily, think about how many cars fit in a 1,200-foot stretch during morning commuter traffic. I think the miraculously minimal human casualties play a big role in how this whole situation is kind of blowing over, I think, in the mainstream news. There's a big whoop, and then people seem to not notice that a major port is shut down. Okay, I do insist this is actually a bit of a big idea. I mean, the supply chain part, the economic ripple effect that's going to hit a lot of people in unexpected ways that comes from this. So shipping is scrambling to reroute loads, but not all ports have the same equipment as the Baltimore port does for certain heavy or hazardous loads. The current early, shiny, hopeful guesstimate is that the port could be open again by May. Getting the port open is just the first part. Then fixing or more likely rebuilding the bridge will take years. The salvage is split into 3 sections. There's the ship that's grounded and very damaged from the weight of the bridge, smashing onto the bow, damaged some of the cargo. So that's one project. And then the massive chunks of concrete and steel in the harbor. That's another part of the salvage project. And then lastly, there's the sections of the bridge that are not in the water, which is overseen by the Department of Transportation. So you've got each of these 3 salvage areas hiring different companies to figure all this out. I'm sure they won't have any bureaucratic issues or shenanigans trying to work together to get this cleaned up quickly. It's totally going to happen by May. Oh my gosh. So, I mean, I wonder who's even liable for this debacle. I'd hate to be an insurance agent on this. The potential cost of insurance claims from the bridge collapse could be, they're estimating, between $1 billion and $3 billion and is projected to be in litigation for years. Even so, the President Biden came out and said it is his intention that the federal government will pay the entire cost of reconstructing the bridge, and he expects Congress to support his effort, supposedly, and that this will take some time. I guess I do prefer my tax dollars be used to build bridges rather than bombs, but it's just a little odd to me. I thought that was the whole reason the shipping insurance scheme existed. So why do my taxes have to cover it? And if my taxes are covering it, I get to know every detail of what happened in this investigation, right? Right? Yeah, right. One can only hope we get real answers about this someday. The idea of being able to time a cyber attack on a ship to take out a bridge seems sci-fi to me, but crazier conspiracies have been confirmed, like the whole chemtrails thing. I hope your tin hat fits well these days. Let's wrap this up with 5 more seconds of laughter, perhaps at nothing and perhaps at the absurdity of the current status of our reality. So, what can you meaningfully do if you, like myself, are not directly impacted via this by proximity? Well, let's not go hoard toilet paper. Maybe hoard a little extra sugar. There's a Domino refinery near there they say they have a few weeks of sugar on hand, but definitely get any specialty items you've been holding out on. I, for example, have been procrastinating on getting an oil filter and a spare. If it's tires or an appliance or a tool or anything not produced in America, which is sadly almost everything nowadays, consider if you should get it sooner rather than later. Shipping has been going through the ringer with the drought in the Panama Canal, missiles in the Suez Canal, and now this major port in the US is down. Don't take for granted that once upon a time we're able to easily order anything we want and have it shipped from around the world conveniently to our doorsteps. But also don't panic. The luxury of the modern supply system won't break down that easily, but above all else, do not be complacent. Take this sign that the supply chain is more fragile than most people think and do what you can to put you and your family at an advantage when things break in a way that does directly affect you. I hope you got some knowledge and motivation from today's video. Thank you for your time. Live long and prosper. Sunshine Prepper out.